The House is resumed. Members, the business before the House is the Prime Minister's statement and debate. The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove has the call, and he has 4 minutes remaining.
4 minutes. Thank you, Mr Speaker. When we left before the dinner break, I was recounting the wonderful speeches from certain members, or interesting speeches, where National Party members talked about credibility and integrity of their government. And I was rehearsing the fact that this government is now propped up, of course, by two rotten piles, John Archibald Banks, twice convicted in a court of law, up for his third strike, and, of course, the Maxwell Smart of Parliament, sir, outsmarted himself, Peter Dunn, who can't confirm whether he leaked or not national security secrets to a Fairfax journalist and now resides back in the Cabinet. And where I think I'd led off, or concluded just before the dinner break, was, of course, there's been a lot of talk about coalition partners and their veracity or lack of it. And I've got to say, on a recent trip to the States, I went to Cape Canaveral. I did. And I've got to tell you, it's a very interesting place. I saw a number of the Apollo craft. I saw the space shuttle. I even saw the piece of kit they're now putting together to head to Mars. And I say to that prospective Conservative Party leader and coalition leader that is galvanised and pot-riveted to the National Party, Colin Craig, you've got to go there. It reinforces that the moon landing did indeed take place. Now, I wasn't there, but there was an astronaut there who was talking to some kids who did verify it. So I say to Colin Craig, if you're out there, take a trip, go and have a look. You say you need evidence. This is the man who says he doesn't believe in unisex toilets, when begs the question what one does at home. Vapour trails and other conspiracies that are happening. And this is the person, of course, that the National Party has wrapped their arms around. A great person of credibility and integrity, I would have thought. As I said before the dinner break, the only politician, or prospective politician in New Zealand that Mary Wilson actually had to ask on national radio, on Checkpoint, do you believe the earth is round? And Mr Craig hesitated. So this is the sort of quality human being, Mr Speaker, that this National Party, along with the two rotting, insect-ridden in political terms piles or apples that reside down the other end of the chamber, Mr Dunn and John Archibald Banks. So I don't want to hear any more lectures from that side about credibility and integrity, because day after day in this House there will be questions to that Prime Minister as to why, for instance, Mr Dunn, who went quietly and resigned and by his own admission believed that he was unworthy and untrustworthy to hold a ministerial warrant, but now the Prime Minister believes he is trustworthy but has failed to ask for an explanation as to why he leaked national security documents. Did he do it or didn't? So the moral height bar for getting into Cabinet is just, from the Prime Minister's point of view, don't tell me if you did it or not. I'll just see no evil, hear no evil. You back in. Why? Because there's another little deal to save his political scalp and Mr Dunn's in a hurry. I got to say, when it comes to integrity and credibility, those men and women over there take the biscuit. Whether it be the deal with Rio Tinto, whether it be the deal with the casino, whether it be ignoring in an arrogant way people in respect of the asset sales referendum, whether it be telling, as Marion Street said tonight before the dinner break, the Prime Minister telling the Salvation Army basically that they should get a life and get around a bit and see what's happening in the real world. Well, I'd bet London to a bridge that the Salvation Army and Campbell Roberts and the good people in that organisation, who I think for beyond a century have been doing good work in the welfare area, would be far more in touch with people than this Prime Minister. So let's hear another speech about credibility and integrity, and the next one should talk about brown bag banks and Peter Dunn.
Ian McKelvey.
Oh, this looks good.
Mr Speaker, I was going to start off talking about credibility and integrity, but the previous speaker has done it for us. Thank you, Mr Speaker, for the opportunity to speak tonight on the good news on the state of our nation. But first and foremost, I'm here tonight to speak in support of our